Hello and welcome back to another episode in my Factorio series, trying to build my very first mega factory. My name is Azrael. Come along with me as we continue our adventure. Right now I'm making sure that all of my perimeter defenses are in good health, because we've been having a lot more attacks over here recently. And just making sure that now I'm going to have all the stuff that I'm going to need to get rid of all those little flashing construction icons everywhere. I'm missing several signals, lights, some rail stations, and a whole lot of track. So, before I continue to build more of my defensive perimeter, I'm going to fill in some of the gaps that are there. Alright, I got some stuff crafting up in my inventory. I'm just going to grab some rails there and as much ammunition as I can carry, because that's another thing that we're short of out there. And on my way back, I see that there's a couple more alien nests that have cropped up, so I'm going to take care of them on my way, which is a good thing because, you know, if you leave them unchecked, they will spread. And I've taken such great pains to clear all this area out, so I don't want them coming back in and rebuilding what was once there. So just seeing a few of them thanks to those radar outposts that I set up a couple episodes back. You can see that those are working pretty well, even though they were rather sloppy in their placement. That's on me. That's my bad. All right, a couple more things around here. Yeah, nothing real serious. It's all kind of just run-of-the-mill stuff. Until we get over here and take a look at this. This is our very first Behemoth biter. Yep, that's the crossing of, I believe, the final threshold when it comes to alien milestones there. That we will now start seeing more and more of those Behemoth biters. I'm honestly surprised it's taken this long. Considering the number of nests that I've destroyed. I do believe that destruction of alien nests is the largest driving factor in biter evolution. You know, there are other factors such as pollution and the simple passage of time, but those are minimal compared to destruction. They really don't like it when you break their stuff. So there it is, the dawn of a new era. So that's just more we'll have to watch out for. Anyway, I have over here having my bots fill in a bunch of new stuff. Here's some ammunition going into these turrets. There's some much needed. All right, that's enough to fill them up, but it doesn't leave them with a whole lot of excess. So I figured that 9 stacks of ammunition are just about perfect for filling and holding some leftover. So there we go. There's 9 stacks, building outward that way, and now it's filling up over to the left. Excellent. Alright, and that's pretty much all I was equipped for. I'm going to head back, well, kind of meander back toward the base. While I'm out here, I might as well take out a few more alien nests. It's always good to at least take out a few whenever I'm moving around up here. Because, you know, the more you clear out early on, the fewer that are going to be staying behind. So, yeah, this is... We're almost halfway as far as building our defensive perimeter. I know it only looks like we've done the northern half, or northern quarter actually, but I know from past experience that the eastern and southern perimeters are not actually going to require a whole lot of intervention on my part. There are a number of lakes in those areas that I can use as a natural border. Kind of like what you saw in the existing eastern wall several episodes back. I just kind of covered most of that with the lakes that were already there. All right, just kind of clearing out a few of these. I know that the 0.15 update is right around the corner. Their initial estimate was February, but they've said that in a Friday Facts from, I don't know if it was this week or a couple of weeks back, but that date was going to have to be pushed back a little bit, probably into March or April. But right now, as of the recording of this video, it is the end of February. We're in the final week of February. So, and with the rate that I'm putting these videos out, 0.15 is going to be here well before I finish this wall. Over here, I just decided to let my defense perimeter take out the last of those little stragglers. Whatever saves me on ammunition, right? Alright, pick up a few more iterations for the perimeter. That box holds, it ideally holds enough to allow me to put up 3 iterations of the defensive perimeter. But of course my inventory was full of a lot of other stuff, so I didn't quite have enough room for it all. Just trying to move everything around now and get enough room made there. And I'm also going to try to craft up, I want to stay a little bit more on top of the manual crafting that I still have to do for all of this. I do not have any part of my factory devoted to creating lights or rail signals or anything of that matter. And that box also does not collect ammunition because there's just way too much of it. Since there were 9 stacks needed to fill up 1 iteration, that would mean that I need 27 stacks to do 3 iterations. And that would basically be a box unto itself. So I might as well just use the existing ammo chest that I've got. Alright, as I'm on my way back up here, it looks like there's a new nest there. I'm pretty sure I went through this area and wiped it out already. And they just kind of came back in and resettled. But that's alright. Alright, I'm going to switch back over to my construction armor. And hit the button a few too many times there. There we go. And it's just, that's actually rather beautiful watching them all just fly out there like that. That should be 90 construction bots all handling things, if my calculations are correct. And I realize that the leftmost side of this is still a little too close to an active nest, a fairly big active nest. So I need to clear this out before my bots do anything more. But then, of course, the bots will continue to go out on their own, even if your armor does not have any personal roboport. Well, I don't know if that's entirely true, but they're apparently doing stuff anyway, even though this armor shouldn't allow them to do that. Maybe it has 1 personal roboport in it. I honestly can't remember right now. But it managed to get everything done with minimal destruction and damage to my construction bot, so I'm not going to worry too much. Alright, I do want to clear out some more of these because I believe this is going to be the northwestern corner. Right there you can see that abnormally straight edge in the desert denotes the western border of my personal square. And it's just about in the right place to construct one of those corners. First I want to take care of some of this gigantic nest over here. This is Bidertropolis over here. But not a whole lot of worms, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. The only real problem is to have the occasional Behemoth biter come out. But when it's just 1 or 2 or 3, they're not that much of a problem. But then, of course, I see a notification that there's some destruction going on in my oil outpost. So I need to prioritize that over this. I'm going to let some of my defenses take care of some of those, and it took care of those Behemoth biters pretty well, actually. Even though there was no ammunition in any of the gun turrets, the laser turrets picked it up pretty well. There was 1 little straggler there. Just running back to the base from this corner is just taking way too long. I need to do something about this. And I don't have a gate over here. Let's just put one in. I'm going to use these because they're a little bit faster. While I'm over here, I check on my oil. It's just dreadful. I'm not producing enough oil for anything. Speaking of oil, here comes the oil train. That'll just let me head on over there without having to run the whole way. Here we go. Thanks for the lift. We do see that several wall segments and a turret were destroyed, as there just wasn't enough here. Speaking of, here comes another attack. Yeah, it's those Behemoth biters. Those piddly defenses that I have right there are no match for the onslaught of such powerful creatures. So I'm going to have to do a little sweeping out here, just to get rid of some of the more problematic bases. With this many bases in the area, I'm honestly surprised that there weren't more attacks going on. Maybe there were, and I just ignored them because I tend to do that sometimes, especially when I'm focusing on other things. But it's not too difficult to get rid of, just the occasional behemoth here and there that refuse to go down quickly. And once again, I'm just kind of casually setting the entire forest on fire. Ooh, almost got my health down. They almost got through my shields. And that would have been a bad thing, because once the shields are down, the rest of me is like, you know, a sugar cookie in as far as strength. There's very little oil being produced over here, and it's probably because I don't have enough beacons. I know I put down like one or two down there and then ran out and never got around to putting down more. It's just another thing on the list of things to do to get this base back up and functioning that I have been putting off because I've been too busy with this defensive perimeter for the last several episodes. I know I need to get my oil worked out because oil is for plastic, and the lack of plastic is what's preventing my red circuits from being built. But there are plenty of oil outposts that I have discovered on my journey around the perimeter. So once I get this wall in place, it should be pretty easy to go around and get enough stuff to build it back up and actually get this thing up to being a mega factory, like I promised 47 episodes ago. Right here, I'm trying to think of how to run a railroad line out to my defensive perimeter, because running back and forth like this is just getting far too tedious. So, and it's going to have to be connected eventually. So, I might as well start laying the groundwork for that. I'm going to turn this little intersection into a roundabout. My justification for using a roundabout here is that the defensive perimeter ideally will not be requiring a whole lot of train movement. So whatever traffic is heading out to the defensive perimeter will be few and far between. Like I said, ideally, it's just basically to resupply the place compared to a more global comparison. And okay, yeah, I missed a few lights there. Let me go ahead and plop the blueprint back down again. All right. Now, my hope is that with all those chain signals, that prevents it from deadlocking. I know that deadlocking is a fairly rare thing to happen in a roundabout, especially when you have trains as small as the ones that I'm using. Most of my trains here are just 1 and 1 or a 1 and 2, for those of you who understand that nomenclature. All right. So, and the deadlocks usually don't happen unless you do some really, really specific things farther down the line. Like, if the train is currently in a roundabout, and then suddenly you rip up a piece of track and it can no longer get to its destination, it might have to recalculate a new path that takes it around the roundabout a second time, and then it can lock against itself because it sees its own tail in the roundabout and thinks, oh, the track up ahead is occupied, so I can't move. But that shouldn't really be too much of an issue with the short trains that I'm using. And the number of chain signals that I'm using there. All right. In the meantime, I do need to figure out how to get these railroad segments connected from the eastern side of the lake to the western side of the lake. And I accidentally end up taking all the power out of this area, but it'll be back up and running here momentarily. In the meantime, I'm just trying to map out where my railroad is going to connect. I've realized I don't need to have it up here. I can actually just bring it down. I actually want to turn this little thing into a T-junction, so I can connect the inbound line over there, which it is an inbound line in reference to the base because I extended the wrong side of the rail. So if I'm driving a train up here, I have to do it manually because it's going to be driving on the wrong side of the track. All right, if I can just get this working, and then of course I remember that I should have a blueprint for this in my inventory. Let's just go ahead and use that. All right, there we go. Makes things a little bit easier. Now let's get the power reconnected. There we go. Now all those defenses should be working again. I mean, yeah, the gun turrets were still operational if it came down to that, and they are fairly powerful. But if a group of Behemoth biters were to come at my wall, gun turrets might not be sufficient. And of course, now I'm also out of rail segments in my inventory. Almost. I think I have like a stack of 20 something. This this inserter was holding an alien artifact, and I guess it picked it up from the ground when I put it down there. I can't think of any other reason why there would be an alien artifact in the inserter's hand. So I had to clear that out of the way in order for the ammunition to start flowing. And before I build this segment of the next segment of the perimeter, I wanted to clear out a few bases down south. Alright, and this should be good. I'd have to remember how to line this up in order to create that nice little corner that I did over in the northeastern corner. I believe that is about where I had it. Now, the shortage of rails segments in my inventory is going to prevent me from doing much more than that. And I'm just going to let my construction bots build as much as they can. I'm still missing a few signals and some lights and some gates, I believe. And of course my base is out of power, so it can't really do much else either. I'm going to go ahead and craft up a few of those things until the construction icon down there tells me that the only thing it's waiting on is railroad segments. Alright, now it's just the gate down there. Now it's just rail segments. Okay. I'm going to have to head back into the base one more time. Probably several more times, but just one more time in this instance. So, take out a few more alien nests on my way in. And again, it's not really too much of an issue. The occasional behemoth coming at me, like that one right there. But other than that, this really isn't too much to worry about. Yeah, a couple more behemoths along the way. Now, their percentages are not particularly high yet, but it's obviously greater than 0. But as time goes by and more nests are destroyed, that percentage will go up. And oh, they got me. Alright, I'm going to try this again. Yeah, that was my own fault. I waded into those worms with reckless abandon. And I noticed that I was running down and just couldn't get out quite in time. So we're going to do this a little more carefully, a little more cautiously. Kind of skirting around the edge and taking care of the nests along the way, so that the biters won't come out and get me while I'm trying to do this. Alright, there we go. Gonna take care of one more little nest up here. Alright, a couple more behemoths in that group. Fortunately, they're behemoth spitters, and they're a little easier to deal with. And there was this little settlement right here on the other side of my rail line. God, they're just not waiting at all. Alright, we are getting close to the end of today's episode though, so I'm just going to run in here and pick up a few things. Primarily the rail segments, so I don't forget those. And that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Azrael. Never stop building.